What is up? This is the Digital Sage Podcast. I'm so happy to be here. What's up, Miss Tori? How you doing today?
I am well. Hey, Greta, how are you?
I'm doing great. So well. Thank you. I kind of love a good podcast. Little you all don't know this. Maybe you all out there don't know this. I'm kind of a podcast junkie. Let me clarify that. I'm a good podcast junkie. And today we got a good one for you. I know I'm biased, but I think this is a topic, in all seriousness, that is really important for many people out there. This is something that I think all business owners have experienced at some point and probably continue to experience as they advance and move along that spectrum. Today, we are kind of talking about, when do you know enough to start a knowledge-based business? When do you know enough? What do you think?
Wow. Man, that's heavy. That is a heavy question, Greta. It's like, I know exactly what you mean when you say that question. Like, how do you know it's the right time to step out and start a knowledge-based business? Like, do you know enough? Like, when is enough? So
when is enough? Right.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
That's heavy. I'd love to hear you weigh in on that.
Yeah, I think, I've thought a lot about this. I think that one of the big things to understand when it comes to knowledge is that we're always learning. And we know that as humans, but we can tend to forget that. And we can be very hard on ourselves. Now, be clear, when we're going into a forum and we are advising or encouraging someone to, engage in our services to help improve themselves or solve a problem or an issue in their business or something along those lines, we need to know what we're talking about. So that's important. It's very important to understand that. You can't just, it should go without saying, but as my grandmother used to say, common sense ain't always common. So let me just be clear. We got to know some things. But I believe that the good news here is that many people will say, or I've heard several people say, that you just need to be a certain amount or percentage ahead of those you're hoping to serve. And to an extent, I would agree with that. Now, I've also always believed in that, and perhaps this is just, it can come from, obviously a life and of being raised as a Black girl, right? Mm-hmm. That I needed to know my stuff. And I think that many of us are raised that way. Like, I don't have the luxury of the mistake, right? So I need to know. So I think that apart from that being ahead of those I'm choosing to serve, which should go without saying to an extent, I also have to be very comfortable in my own shoes so that when the going gets rough or I'm in a challenging situation, I'm not floundering or nervous, because that imposter syndrome, as many people, would use that term, can be real.
It's very real. And I think that is the challenge, Dr. Greta, is like that balancing act of knowing, do I just need to be a certain percentage ahead of them, or do I need to be a full-on expert, right? And depending on who you are, right? Mm-hmm. Self-consciously or whatever, messages that you may feel or you're internalizing, some people are perfectly comfortable with just having 5% more knowledge than the people they're coaching, right? Mm-hmm. 10 or 20%. And then there are those of us who feel like I've got to know 200% more. Like, I've got to be the complete expert before I step out and try to teach other people what I know. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like, how do you find the balance in that to know, like, I don't have to be so perfect before I get out and start offering my services?
Sure. And I think that there can be a maturation process or an evolution or whatever the term we'd want to choose for that. And I can use myself as an example in many different ways. But when I think about myself as a teacher, many of you may know I'm also, I double as, if you will, a golf professional. And so even before that, I'm a tennis professional. I'm still a tennis professional. I'm just kind of a retired tennis professional. In teaching, when I began teaching many, many, many moons ago at this point in time, I knew, I was a very good player and I knew the game and I've always been a student of the game. But teaching and coaching is a different thing. It's a different skill set. And so I did not put a stake in the ground on the type of student or the type of format that I taught. I spent time. People could clearly understand that I was ahead of them. My skills were quite a bit ahead of theirs as a high level player. But again, coaching and executing are two different things. Coaching and playing are two different things. But I kind of got very comfortable just as a coach, as a teacher, before I then began to say, hey, my bailiwick is high level performing, women players, so on and so forth. Before I became the specialist, I was comfortable. I got comfortable in my role as a generalist. And
say that one more time.
Before I moved into being a specialist, I got very comfortable being a generalist. Because once I was able to survey the field and be very adept at teaching any aspect of it, I could then dive at. Sometimes it'll come to you naturally, like, hey, I love this whole game, but what I'm really good at is teaching this serve and volley, or teaching, or being a putting teacher, or teaching statistics, teaching business statistics. I mean, whatever the case may be, you kind of have to have the survey of the land before you know what you're really, really going to be exemplary at honing in upon. And remember that, in my humble opinion, if you're going to go down that path, which many of us are in terms of being specialists, you have to know, you have to be able to deliver. It's not a guessing game when someone's paying you thousands of dollars.
Exactly.
What is the promise? And we all know you got to keep your promises. Got to honor your promises.
100%. 100%. Yeah. So it's like, if you can deliver, right? If you can provide the results that you say that you're going to, because you did it for yourself in your own life, or you helped other people achieve it in your circle or, surrounding, then really that's all you need to qualify you, right? To be able to launch your knowledge business. I heard you mention your background with coaching and being an educator, and I was in education as well. And that's my field, is teaching and helping people learn and that kind of thing. And so it's like a part of the learning process is you acquire the knowledge and then you apply the knowledge, right? And then that third level is being able to teach someone else. And when I take some clients through that process of, here's what I know, now you do it. Now, can you show someone else? Because when you can, that demonstrates how deeply you know what it is that you were just taught. And so it's the same thing, I think, with the knowledge business. Can you take somebody through the what, the why, and the how effectively, and they're able to get a result? If so, then by all means, go ahead and launch. I think that's all we need. We don't have to kind of be stuck in our own selves about, am I good enough? That imposter syndrome that you brought up, because we're good enough because we've already kind of internalized not being good enough so long, that we've already worked so hard, that we've already shown and proven ourselves so much already to even be considering, right, launching. So the fact that you're even considering a knowledge business means you're probably well beyond the time where you could have launched.
Very true. Very true. Again, I know that for many of us, part of our growing up was always this reminder that you're going to need to be, you fill in the blank what the number was, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, whatever it was, better than, right? And that was just to remind us that, unfortunately, the playing field isn't equal. So you do not have the opportunity to go out here half-baked, half-assed, whatever you want to call it. You don't get that opportunity. So with that many of us, particularly women of color, that's how we think. That's how we operate. So as Ms. Tori, you just said, many of us, we could have started this ages ago.
Ages, right? Because this whole time we've been in our mind thinking, I got to be the best. Not just the best, like you said, 3 and 4 and 5 and 10 times better than the best. We've already been putting in that work ethic, right? And seeking out specialized knowledge, right? So we've already honed our skills so much. We know what we're doing through and through, and we still have the nerve to think, am I good enough?
I need
after all of that
certification. I better go get that certification this
right.
week. Right? I mean, and we see it in many places and many spaces in the corporate world. Everyone's, I shouldn't say everyone, but many of us have seen this, where the opportunity for advancement, a new position opens up, and you read it, and like, you got a lot of the stuff they're asking for, but maybe not all of it. And you go like, oh, I'm not there. And, Wile E. Coyote over there, who has like none of it. First one applying. And then guess what? Because you didn't apply, and other people who didn't have that skill set and those skills and beyond didn't apply, he got the opportunity.
Right. But you can't get what you don't apply for. Like, you just already selected yourself out 100%, right?
Selection out.
Selected yourself out because you didn't think you were good enough. And then the person who has way less.
Right.
Way less than you.
Right.
How many times have you seen it? Over and over.
Oh my goodness. We see it in corporate America. We see it in small business. You're going like, what? He's never even, or she's never, right? And you know, it doesn't even matter what that person does. You know that you are equipped for it, but for whatever reason, you don't feel, if you will, sufficient enough or ready enough, even though you are. It's the emotion of it all, the feelings that are all that, again, it's a lot going on out here in this world that can beat us down and have us feeling that way. And it's our part of our job here, all of us, is to reset, right? Refresh and reset ourselves to know that, nope, I got the goods. I've just got to understand that. I've got to understand how to package and, if you will, harness that information to create that viable, opportunity or service or product that I'm providing. I mean, that's the key. And I think that is one of the things that people can struggle with. Have all of the knowledge in the world and have a servant's heart, so ready to share that information and that knowledge. Right. I just don't know how. And I think in a very upcoming episode that's coming up very soon, we're going to talk about this, because sometimes we want to throw the kitchen sink at everyone, and in terms of what we want to offer. And that is done because we really don't know exactly how to package, how to shape, how to form.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So truth be told, right now, you already have enough knowledge. So that you said, when do you have enough? The answer is now. The problem is, how do you package what you already know in a way that you can monetize your expertise and go forth and collect that revenue and have that life that you desire to have?
Right. How do you package it?
How do you
deliver it? How do you, and one of the things that we will continue to talk about and we'll expand upon, which is really kind of where we've landed an amazing success, quite frankly, with the Digital Sage agency, is helping amazing knowledge experts sustainably deliver. Because that's a big one.
Love it.
You got to deliver it, right? And that is, again, we'll talk about that quite a bit in upcoming episodes. That's sustainable delivery it's a lot of, I guess, ingredients in that magic sauce, but that's a big one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we don't want to just have the one time or the one trick pony. We want something that's going to be consistently generating revenue, right? This knowledge is supposed to be our gold mine. So we want to make sure that we know how to mine it effectively, and we're able to always reap the benefits of that ongoing.
It is one's mine, right? And the good news is, when we own the mine, we have an opportunity to dig in there and create amazing things. We've done the work. If I'm going to go with the diamond mine, right? The stuff's been in there. What creates a great diamond? Pressure. Well, for most of us, we've endured and excelled despite lots of pressure, whether that was pressure from an academic standpoint, family life, whatever. We've all dealt with it in one way or the other. None are more significant than the others. But the good news is that we withstood and we persevered, and it is time to, if you will, cash in on creating a path that works for you, right? Because that knowledge is hard earned.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You worked hard for it. That was an investment of your blood, your sweat, and your tears. I mean, come on. Like, you know what we put in to get this expertise? Right. So I think that's great, Dr. Greta. And, you know, we do have that 7-figure blueprint to help you start thinking about brainstorming ideas into ways that you can package your expertise into an empire. And like Dr. Greta said, in our upcoming episodes, we're going to dive into that how. But if you want to get some insight into how you can get started with that, head on over to www.thedigitalsage.agency and go ahead and copy your blueprint today.
Go ahead and cop that thing. Go ahead and cop it. Yes. So I'm so excited that, you know, we're busting the myth, right? Because so many people, and I think it's because I'm always looking for it. As a lifelong coach and educator, I'm always looking for the breakthrough for people. And I'm sure you've seen it too. It's amazing. Like, they don't even know what they know. They don't even know what they have. And so sometimes it's just creating that awareness for people. So consider us the alarm clock. Ring. We're here to wake it up. We're here to wake it up and get you going and everything like that. But this was fun. This was good. I'm hoping that this was helpful to you if you were kind of walking that edge or teetering, or maybe you're out on your afternoon or evening walk, you're walking the dog, whatever the case may be, and it's been kind of niggling with your mind, like, am I ready for that? Am I equipped to do that? The simple answer is yes, a resounding yes.
The time is now.
Time is now. So with that being said, we are going to get you revved up in upcoming episodes. But until then, bye for now. See you later, Miss Tori.
Next time. Bye.